you've got more than a passing interest in martial arts. You've been to a few of my fights over the years. And we initially got talking in HMV back all those years ago about martial art and one of my fights and things. So basically, yeah, I know that you've done, if I'm remember rightly, you did a bit of yoga, or you do train in yoga, and I believe you have also. Well, I know you've dipped your toe in the waters of martial arts over the years. So tell me a little bit about your experiences of martial arts, Mackie.
I could tell you all about it, John. It's nowhere near in your league, obviously. And as I discuss this, you'll see a pattern emerging, right? But yeah, I love martial arts. Like people of a certain age, Bruce Lee, we went to the cinema. I think I probably went backwards. I probably saw Enter the Dragon first with King Boxer. Do you remember King Boxer?
Yeah, King
Boxer. Film. Where the guy jumps up and jumps down with the fingers and pokes his eyes out. And we're like 15, 16, quite impressionable then. And we're watching Bruce Lee, and of course we're sucking it up. We're taking all this, little skinny guy Bruce with his nunchucks and all this kind of thing. Fucking amazing. Right. And we came out of the cinema. I think we're at Buxton. 4 or 5 of us must have gone to Buxton Cinema. Of course, we're loving it. We're coming out, we're buzzing us tits off. We've seen this little guy destroy all these people. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get into the martial arts. I'm going to be Newmill's answer to Bruce Lee. Anyway, my uncle at the time was doing karate, and he was rubbish at it, John. There's no kind way of saying it. It was no good. Anyway, but he said, I go to karate in Stockport. Do you want to come? And there was me and a mate of mine, Graham Hadfield. And he says, do you want to come along? He took my cousin. So he says, yeah, of course we do, yeah, because there was nowhere then. This has got to be. I don't know, when was Enter the Dragon, John? What year is that?
78, I think.
Was it that late?
No, it was earlier, actually, wasn't it? It was earlier than 78.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking mid-70s. It was definitely pre-punk rock.
Yeah.
It was pre-punk rock that we got into it. Anyway, he took us down to this place, Shotokan Karate Club in Stockport, at the back of a pub.
Probably Jack Tilley, but go on.
Right, we didn't know anyone. All we knew it was sort of like a scout-up kind of place at the back of a pub. Sort of the higher grades would kind of look down on you. They weren't nasty to you or anything, but, we held them in high esteem, so we're looking up, and you're bowing when you're going in, and you're bowing when you're coming out, and you're bowing before you do your 3-step sparring and all this kind of thing. And I came home and I was doing the press-ups and the sit-ups. I'm going to get into this and everything. But Shotokan was very regimented.
Yes,
it although looking back now, I should have stuck it. A lot of things in my life I should have stuck, and I didn't. But hey ho, that's life. Because I know you did traditional martial arts, and it's the grounding, isn't it? That's the grounding. That's the making of you, John.
I'm still a massive traditional martial arts man, and I still practice for myself. I don't really teach traditional martial arts anymore unless people sort of request me to do so. But no, I love the heritage and the lineage and everything else like that, and the art form as well. Obviously, I'm a fighter as well, in the sense of, whether it's, in a pub car park or a ring or a cage or whatever, I can do that also. But it's like, I do consider myself a martial artist, not just a striker.
You're doing the punching and he's lifting your fist up a centimetre, and he's kicking your leg in a little bit. And I thought, what is this? What is this? Nobody's going to stand there and let me punch him. This isn't the real world. But what I didn't realise then, that those 300 punches I was throwing, are helping me. They're giving me arm strength and, leg strength and stuff like that. I must have done that for 2 or 3 years. Just got sick of it. I thought, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere here. I want to be Bruce, and I'm not going to be Bruce doing this. So I packed it in for a fair while. And then I started seeing a girl in Marple. Noticed there was a karate club in Marple. I'm always looking for something else, John. That's the thing.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but I'm never going to find it, mate. That's the thing. But anyway, so there was one, Bujinkai Karate, and I'd never heard of this. And this was in Marple. It was Hawk Green. Did you know it, John? Are you aware of it at all?
Aware of it, yeah. I know those guys, yeah.
And he was doing his own thing. He was doing this Bujinkai Karate. And I went, and in this, there were kind of a few more little grips, locks, and a few little chokes. He'd taken a little bit from like jiu-jitsu and is it hapkido and things like that. Basically, it was karate, but he put in a few little bits that he thought were useful in a self-defense situation. Because in the Shotokan, we didn't have any sparring. But in this, we had sparring, but it was all kind of controlled. We got the gum shields in. And just to say now, I was never any good at sparring, John. It's no good at it.
Mate, I'll tell you this too. Firstly, like anything else, if you'd have carried on long enough, you would have gotten good. If you'd come train get good now, traditional martial arts is not the most direct way to show somebody how to fight. It's not, right? Where it came from was back in the day, a lot of the time, martial art was outlawed and punishable by death back in, ancient China, Japan, whatever. So it wasn't a great idea to be sort of caught practicing it. And that's where the kata came from. It was a physical way of recording a physical skill and passing it down before the ages of DVD players and this, that, and the other. Now, you could have written it, you could have had books, and there were a few books that were knocking around. Obviously, there's the Babishi, like the Karate Bible, that sort of goes way back. But again, generally, most people couldn't read or write. And, also, again, if you've got a solid material book, it's pretty condemning evidence, you know what I mean? Or it was back in those days. So, again, a lot of the traditional stuff, it was sort of very much formatized, and it was designed to be taught in the military, and then a watered-down version was taught in the schools. So it got really bastardized, and a lot of the original meaning and application got lost, but the shape survived. Now, it's not a bad thing. This is what traditional martial art does. It teaches by shape. You learn the body mechanics, and it is rigid, and it is regimented, and it is military-esque in the way that you're drilling. And it is pedantically bloody, like it's perfectionism, isn't it? Like you said, you'll move your knee an inch, this, that, and the other. But trust me, if your knee's an inch out of line, that makes a difference. And that kind of repetitive, regimented drilling, if you've got the inclination for it, even some of the best Thai boxers, I trained with a guy called Tawatashi Budsadi, or Juk for short. And I saw, in fact, Damien Trainer at the Reebok Stadium a few years ago, and that was awesome. But he said the first couple of years he was doing Thai boxing in Thailand, they literally just had him walking forward, jab, cross, back, jab, cross, left, jab, cross, right. Just drilling that footwork, just super, super basic drills, but to the point where you really can't get it wrong, where it just becomes unconscious, response. And that's really the level that we're all trying, whether we're talking about music, martial arts, whatever, we're all looking to get that place of unconscious competence. And I do think traditional martial arts has an awful lot to offer in that respect. I personally find the history and everything absolutely fascinating. And I love practicing the katas because they're a moving meditation, for someone like me. Some people like yoga or whatever. I like traditional karate and kung fu and tai chi and stuff. That's my thing. But get it in your mind as well that 300 odd years ago in Japan, when given a chance, of course they were training together. Of course they were sparring and knocking lumps out of each other. You've got to spar because otherwise you're playing tennis without a ball, right? And sparring isn't a fight, but we can't actually full-blown fight. Yeah. Even, the most extreme athletes on the world, okay, don't get me wrong, it goes that way sometimes. I've had sparring sessions that were as heavy and as brutal as any of my actual legitimate fights. All right. But what I'm saying is there's always an element of even when you're really going for it, there's an element of restraint. It's not a live situation. But if you're not sparring, and that's sometimes an argument that I've heard people sort of use, saying, "Oh, we don't spar because you can't gouge someone's eye out in the street, this, that, and the other." I'm like, no, fair enough. You can't spar with eye gouges or groin strikes, right? But at the same point in time, if you're not sparring, you're not getting used to distance changing. You're not getting used to the hand-eye coordination, to the timing. You're not getting used to the sensation of getting smashed on the head. So the first time it happens to you in a real situation, you're going to be real. The first time you get hit for real should not be inside of a ring, a cage, or on the street. It should be in a training session. So with me, it's always about that balance. And some clubs get it really, really spot on, and some clubs maybe a little too far one way or the other. But there you go. I just thought I'd add that in while we were there. But so go back to your sparring exploits, please, sir.
I say they did a few bits of sparring and stuff like that, but it was like you said, John. We got the headgear. got the gloves, got the gum shields in, you know, and he's saying, light continuous sparring, you know, just kind of going, and someone will clip you, you know, and you're like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? You know, like that kicked in, which is all wrong, you know, you kind of should be learning how to move out of the way of that, not react to it by going, oh, what's going, you know, come on then, which is like obviously the wrong end of stuff. But yeah, it does happen. Yeah. This guy, this Pete Nelson used to fight on, and I know you fought on this, John, the circuit, the FSK stuff, you know, the light continuous and points fighting.
I think I mentioned this when we were talking beforehand. I've got magazines from the late 80s, early 90s with me listed at about number 7 or 8 in the cadet rankings, the kids rankings on the FSKs. And yeah, I mean, later, much later, about 2000, 2001, I won an FSK British title in the light continuous stuff. This was the point fighting, because they didn't even have light continuous for kids when I was that age. You know, I started in the point fighting. I started in judo, then went on to traditional karate, fought traditional wuko points, which was pretty bloody brutal because what you had on was less than an FSK, less than an MMA mitt. It was like like
the little bandage thing.
It's basically a bandage. And like to the body, we were absolutely nailing each other. You know, it's full contact to the body. You're supposed to show control to the head, but the body shots were all full in. And there was some serious injuries on that. And then I went on to the freestyle karate, which is where I hit the FSK sort of circuits and things. And then progressed from there into the full contact and the MMA and the boxing later on. But
well, I purely got into that as a fan. I wasn't. I never fought. Like I say, I couldn't spar. Wasn't really my thing. I love the martial arts and everything, and you know. But this guy Pete Nelson, he says I'm fighting in it. It's George H. Carnell, which I know you know very well, in Urmston.
Right there, yeah.
And he says I'm fighting. Come down. You know, it's in 3 weeks, something like that. So I says, yeah, I'll come down. So I gets down there, and it's great. You know, it's like one of these tournaments. You know, all people around, and the mats are there, and everyone's walking around in the coloured gis and everything. And it was just like, I thought, this is fucking great. I love all this. Anyway, so I'm looking around for this guy, and I thought, that looks like him, apart from his like 2 stone lighter. So anyway, I looked over and it was him, and I says, all right, mate. And he says, yeah. I says, fucking hell, what's happened to you? And he says, oh, you know, to fight at my weight, I had to lose a load of weight. And that is like the first time when you kind of realise the dedication people are going to show to stuff. Because, you know, he'd lost like 1.5 stone, John, or something in 3 weeks, purely because he'd fought at the weight above, done very well. He'd fought below and done very well when he was younger. But he wanted this middleweight one, or whatever it was. So anyway, I watched him. It was great. You know, the point stuff, I really loved it. And looking back now, I know it sort of helped. The time when I was watching it, which is probably mid-90s, something like that, was like a golden age.
It was.
You know, you got Alfie Lewis, Liverpool freestyle, and you got Birmingham Laugar, and who was the other one?
Northwest kickboxing, Kim Stone,
GP, all them, and of course I didn't know these guys. I'm just watching, you know. I mean, I got Martial Arts Illustrated and Combat and all that, and later on you're looking in the rankings. But I can remember the freestyle guys because Alfie Lewis was like above anything else that I'd seen. You know, he'd got this aura about him, and he was cocky. He was cocky, but he could back it up. Fucking hell, he was lightning fast. You know, and like, you know, you say the control thing. I'm not really sure there was that much control. I'm sure because he would have knocked your teeth out. But
I've had this conversation with a couple of my mates. Me and Rick Allsop were chatting recently about some of the old light continuous fights we used to have. Now, bear in mind, I've fought a bit of pro MMA and some bare knuckle and what have you, and like, I could tell you there was nothing fucking light about half the light continuous I've ever done. It was more like it was kind of like unofficial full contact with a few fail safes. Like if you were getting your ass really handed to you, then I might step in. But I mean, a lot of the referees, like I remember like Joe Tierney refereeing, and at one time I was chatting with this one with Lee Charles about this when I fought Clifton Finlay at the Clash of the Titans many years later myself, and like. We were knocking lumps out of each other. It kicked off basically, but both Joe and Billy were of that that mindset that as long as it was matched on both sides and it was all sort of a fair game, we would let it go. And I love that. But also, like, the points fight itself, I've had some horrendous like injuries from points fighting. I mean, my nose has been broken just in my career well over 40 times. I stopped counting. I've had one operation. If you watch when I breathe in now, you see that one. Yeah, the other one doesn't go at all. I got that corrected temporarily about 2004, sorry. If I ever have to have that operation done again, it'll be too soon. It's like a septoplasty where they chisel stuff up the inside.
Oh, yeah. Lovely.
I've probably then gone on to, retire at least 6 more times since then and have about another 1,000 fights. I probably have more retirement bouts. Most people have had career.
John, I've seen 3 retirement fights.
At least 3, yeah. But
going back to that, we watched the freestyle guys, and this, to me, that the Liverpool freestyle and the Laugar lads and everything, this was next level to me.
It was.
So I'm loving it. I'm loving all that, and we really got into it. My brother dabbled a little bit. He'd done a bit of taekwondo and stuff, and we went to the Clash of the Titans. I think it was, looking back, because I had a little look before, and I think it was 4 Clash of the Titans 4. I can't find the date, but it's 4, and it was Warriors. It could have been versus Northwest Chinese Kickboxing. I'm not sure, but the main bout, if you like, was Kevin Brewerton and Alfie Lewis, right? Chris Bowie, who I didn't know then, but I know now later on from Northwest Chinese Kickboxing, he was the ref, and they came out and they did it pretty good. Brewerton come out and he'd got the Jedi hood up and they're playing all the music and everything, and he chucks it off and it's fucking stars and stripes on his gi and everything. And Alfie comes running out and all these guys are there. It was really good. It was showbiz, and it was like, well, it's a precursor to MMA, wasn't it? All the big stuff now, but they were starting to do it then, and it was good. I totally absorbed, loved it, loved all that stuff. Like I say, I never fought it.
And Clash of the Titans, you talk about wow moments. I mean, Clash of the Titans, it's amazing the crossover between all these different interviews, by the way, and all the people I'm talking to from different walks of life. How much crossover and commonality there is between everybody. It's quite cool. But with Ray, I was chatting with Ray, one of the lads he worked with on the Tarzan film was Nathan Megatron Lewis, who also was one of the top points fighters. He fought Alfie in the main event of Clash of the Titans 5, which was the first event that I attended. And I was like 12, maybe 13 years old.
You'd be a baby, John, then.
1990. And basically you had Lauren Avdon was there as a special guest, who was the star of No Retreat, No Surrender 2 and 3, and also King of the Kickboxers. And I was hugely into those movies then. So that was incredible. That was like one of those wow moments. To this day, mate, on my bedroom wall, I've got, when I say a massive poster, it's like a 6-foot square poster of Karate Tiger 2, which is the European release name of No Retreat, No Surrender 2. And it's signed in the top right-hand corner by Lauren Avdon. I got that done at Clash 5. And Vincent Lim was there, who fought Jackie Chan in Operation Condor. And then you had one of the best team fights ever on any. The team fights were always the highlight of the Clash. That was always the main event. And you had the Warriors, that was like the all-star team with Joe Tierney and Peter O'Para from Liverpool and Peter Constantine. Chris Bowie was part of the Warriors squad. My own long-time instructors, Dave Morris and the now, unfortunately, sadly, late Sensei Horace Harvey, they fought on the Warriors over the years.
Dave Breen, was Dave on it? Dave Breen from Glossop?
Dave Breed fought on the Warriors later, at a later date. Dave Breed fought on the Warriors. Buster Reeves, who was a huge name on the British semi-contact circuits. He's a really strong martial artist. He now is working, and has been for many years, working in Hollywood as a top stunt coordinator. Small world stuff. Ray knew him quite well and had worked with him. So before I ever met Ray, we had the sort of the common association of Buster. This is what I'm saying, like the circles. It's crazy the way we keep talking about the same things with different people, and everyone's got their own stories and connections to it. But I mean, I don't want to digress too far, because that Clash of the Titans 5 was like a landmark moment for me. And the fighter that stood out more than anyone was Joe Tierney, who was the head of the Shorai Association and runs the Martech company to this day. And I saw him fight a guy called Junior Anderson from the English Contact Karate Squad, which was Arthur O'Loughlin's team. And Junior's a good fighter, but like Joe just destroyed him. And the aggression and the power that Joe had. And Joe's like 5 foot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I remember him. Yeah.
He's about 5 foot wide. He's muscular.
Yeah.
A wicked Martial Arts Illustrated cover, which I just love, with Joe on it. And he's got like the old sort of highly, moosed up Jamaican Stewart long hair. And I tell you what he looked like. He looked like a muscled up version of Eddie Murphy's Soul Glow character.
Yeah. Like Jerry Curls. Are they called Jerry Curls or something?
Yeah. And I always remember that Martial Arts Illustrated cover of see Joe on there. That always makes me chuckle in a good way. But like I saw him that night, and just he was one of the best technical fighters ever. And his thing was sweeps. And he turned Junior Anderson inside out. And I mean, literally at one point, just backflipped him over, catching him with these sweeps. He did that to another fighter on the very first clash, a guy called Elvis Parsley. And that was like a wicked fight. And Joe got dropped in the first 20 seconds and then come back with a vengeance. And this guy tried to axe kick Joe, and it was the same sweep. He kind of timed it, caught the axe kick, and being much shorter, he got in underneath him, swept his back leg and pushed his top leg, and literally backflipped the guy onto his. I mean, it's one of the most badass things I've ever seen. But I mean, he was way on form on Clash 5, demolished this kid. And then later in the finals, it ended up being the Warriors versus Aston Laugar. And Joe had a fight with a guy that he didn't ever get on with in real life, Brian something, I can't remember his name, but another top fighter of the day. And it kicked off. I mean, it proper kicked off. And I mean, you had all these teams jumping on there, pulling each other away. And this could have got nasty. It simmered down in the end. But I mean, me, as a 12-year-old watching, I'd seen the technical prowess. And then it was also like that reality and that aggression and that proper, like, fuck you vibe. And I seen Joe like doing that, and I thought, I need to be that. That's what I want to be. And I ended up training with Joe. I trained under Shorai for years, under Dave Morris and John Salt, my long-term instructors, and the late Sensei Horace Harvey.
Were they in Stockport, John? Where were they?
John's always been local to New Mills, and John, Mark, and Steve were always local to New Mills. So I started off in Newcastle, training with a guy called Steve Henry. That was the first karate guy I ever trained with. And John trained with Steve, and then I ended up just through, I was training like 5-6 times a week, but just because John had more sessions going, I ended up training with John more than I trained with Steve. Then John and Dave Morris joined Shorai under Joe when I was about 13. And I went and I trained and I graded and I did.
Where was Joe? Where was it? Where was his dog?
Based, always has been, sort of Bolton bred. And do you know what? I'll have to give him a buzz and see if he might come on here for an interview as well, because that would be cool.
Oh God, yeah.
Remember
about the hair? I'm sure he'd love to come on.
I've got to. I'll have to find a JPEG of that magazine shop.
Yeah, just have it down in the bottom corner here, like.
I'll talk about hair over Zoom. I don't think I'd bring that up in person because he's still badass.
You can be, John. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah. But I absolutely adored all that sort of martial arts. And like you said, it was pre-MMA existing, right? So the talent pool wasn't as dilute as it is now. Now, don't get me wrong, you've got some phenomenal fighters that have come up off the point circuits and the light continuous circuits, the same circuits I've been on. You've got from Britain, you've got Michael Venom Page doing well over in Bellator now. From the States, you've got Raymond Daniels, who I've had the pleasure of training with, who is just a magician. And he's doing incredibly well in Glory K1 kickboxing as well, obviously the full contact K1 stuff, which is, I love watching that. And you've got Stephen Thompson as well. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is in the middle of a mega run in the UFC, and he won his last fight in style, and he's coming back there. So that sort of, and these are the guys that are making that sort of, that points karate style work very much in a no holds barred scenario. So there was, I know that traditional martial arts fell out of vogue, and then there was a lot of people takes the piss out of what I'd done and called it shiny pants kickboxing and this, that, and the other. And it didn't often stop me from stoving the faces in. So,
Yeah. They're not in there, are they? They're not doing it.
Day, it's the individual that makes the system or that makes the art, not the system or the art that makes the individual at the end of the day. There's good and bad in all fields. I just happen to be a fan of it all. I love it all, and I see the good in all of those systems and those scenes as well. So yeah, yeah. And then I'm going to move on to the next chapter. I've got things lined up. So that just quite nicely brings me around to sort of wrap this up. Not in any rush, by the way, but just I wanted to talk a little bit about what you were doing now and what you might be doing in the future, you know, with your musical stylings.
Well, since Epic Problem stopped, I mean, I said I'd had enough of it. I didn't think we were getting anywhere. We've been going for what, 8-9 years, something like that. We had achieved a lot. You know, we got a lot of records out. Like I said, we played all over, different countries, everything. But I felt we got in a rut, I thought. We didn't fall out or anything like that. But I had a discussion with the lads and I said, I don't want to do it. You know, but I really want you lads to carry on if you want to, you know, get some young buck in who can play guitar, you know. But they didn't want to. They said, no, we'll all call it a day. And having spoke to them recently, they're all agreed now that it was the right time. They didn't think so at the time. They're saying, oh, fucking hell, you know, you're not happy, are you? You know, you're breaking up a relationship. We packed in, but this is what I'm like. You see, I've packed it in, but I want to still do something, John. So what am I going to do? Right, luckily, I've met a lot of people through playing in bands, a lot of talented people who want to do stuff. So, you know, I can get in touch. I've got a mate who's got a studio and we've been down there. We've written some stuff, written some tracks. So that's kind of on hold. But I've also got a mate called Mark from a band called Down and Out's a Liverpool band who we played with loads of times. Really good lad, good singer, good songwriter. Says, if you want to do something, you know, I'll help you. Or, you know, I'll write with you or whatever. It's up to you. And he says, oh, come down, bring your guitar. I've got a bit of a studio. So I went down. I got 4 songs. We jammed them out. We recorded them. We put drums on them. He sang on them. And they're like, I would say, 80% done.
Oh, wow.
We just, yeah. And I mean, it probably won't do any gigs. We've, like I said, we've done 4. We want to do 10. We want to get an album out of it. And if nobody fucking even likes the album or whatever, it doesn't matter because it gives me something to do. You know, you're being creative without the hassle, you know, without the mither and without the stress. It's kind of a long distance relationship that you can dip into and out of. Where do you want to? So, yeah, that's going really well. Like I said, we've got 4 songs done. The thing I said, I've got, you know, some more songs with him. And he says, yeah, I've got some. Then the singer, great singer, John Dagger from a band called Great St. Louis in Bolton. He says, yeah, I'd love to sing for you. So he's going to sing on them. So there's loads of stuff, you know, and I check my emails and some songs have come through. Have a listen to these latest mixes. And that's what I'm into at the moment. We're being creative, John, and we're producing stuff and it's new music and it's not looking back and it gives me something to focus on. Because if I haven't got anything, I go a bit crazy. But then when I have got something, that drives me a little bit crazy. So, hey.
Again, I can relate to that all day long. I can relate to that. And then you talking about how you're not wanting to get out there and push it and do the gigs because you've been there, done it, bought the T-shirt. It's a little bit like that with me and the fighting. I will always absolutely adore it, right? There is no way you're going to see me like making a serious run on the circuits or getting out there regular again. A, because physically I almost certainly don't have it in me, and I'm trying to play, you know, the balancing game and not end up in a wheelchair as well. But B, just mentally, as much as I enjoy the competitive and creative aspects of what I do as well, you know, and there is that, but then it's the rigmarole. It's like you say, it's the traveling, it's the time, it's the logistics of it all, it's the cost of it all. And you just start to be like, I can't be asked selling tickets and things like that in my case, and you're just like, you know, all that circus, I can't be asked with it. You know, you just want to get down to the bit that you like. And again, you want to do that on your terms. And I think that it's cool. Once you've been out there and you've trod the boards and you've been on the road and what have you, I think we all get to a point in life where it's perfectly okay to take a step back and keep being creative and keep pushing yourself. But I think it's fine to start doing it on your terms. Once you've hit those benchmarks for yourself, you're not necessarily inspired in the same way, are you? There's different things that are motivating you. Motivation changes over the years. And I don't think you'll ever lose that creative love or creative want. And I know I won't, with the martial arts, but also things like this channel. At the end of the day, I don't know where this will go or what will happen with it. I've got some world-class names on here, and I'm sure it'll find an audience. But I'm not I'm doing it for my personal satisfaction at the end of the day, first and foremost. The same way I do, whether it's my teaching, whether it's the film and TV stuff, whatever it is that I'm doing, whether it's the stuff that I use to subcontract the NHS, the exercise on prescription, doing it for the love of it first and foremost. And the fact that it pays or whatever is an added bonus. So, yeah, I know where you're driving at, Mackie, yeah. And but I would definitely want to copy the album when it comes out, so put me down for one straight away, mate.
Definitely, mate. I think the thing is, looking at it, looking back, I definitely left it too late, to go out there. I probably left it 10 years too late, and I would have got another 10 years out of it, but I got out of music and everything. And then when I got back, you're kind of older and you've got the aches and pains and the hassle and the family stuff and the work stuff and all that. If it had been kind of a bit younger when I'd got back into it, I would have got another 10 years out of it, out of playing, out of going out playing.
Oh, yeah,
but and it's weird now, because when I go to gigs, John, and I'm sure you're the same when you go to fights, you know what it's like that's led up to that fight or that gig. Someone's just driven down the road, and they've called for a butty and they've had a coffee and they're fucking hanging around all day and it's just boring. But the gig or the fight still is the magic, isn't it? No matter what.
No matter what.
They come out, some band come out onto stage, it's just fucking magical. They've been in the practice room, there's no magic, but somehow there is magic, when they're playing or when they're fighting. It's just like, and I miss that. I do miss that. I miss the playing side. But if you could beam me up, Scotty, play the gig, beam me home, I still do it.
I completely, it's the grind. It's what you don't see. It's the hours in the practice room as a band. It's the hours me on the roads at 11, 12 o'clock at night, because it's the only time I've got in the day after I've finished my work and my kids and, looking after my kids and everything. And then I'm out on the roads at stupid o'clock in the morning. Then I'm getting up early and I'm going out again. And, so there's the physical grind, there's the psychological grind, there's the regimented, and it does take an amount of discipline. I don't care however off the cuff punk looks, it's still, you've got to have an amount of dedication, discipline. You've got to take care of the logistics of things, at least to an extent, because otherwise nothing happens. And it's the same, with fighting, it's the same thing. There's the buzzer being in there and this, that, and the other. And then there is the true understanding of what it takes to get to that point, which can be a little bit daunting. And this is the sort of stuff I've been mulling over. And in the same way that you're talking about effectively doing stuff on your terms, I'm going to go back a handful of times. Who knows, Mackie? Maybe 3. Maybe 5, who knows, right? Maybe only 1. I might do 1 more and I might go, you know what, that's me done. Because I've got nothing to prove anymore. I've got nothing to I've got nothing to prove to myself anyway. And that's the only person I care about, because I'm not taking anyone else with me. And I know that for a fact, because I've nearly pegged it twice. So it's like, I'm satisfied, I'm happy. Therefore, that satisfaction though, and that sort of contentment, you don't have that same drive anymore. Yeah. So that drive has gone for me. What I am still driven to do is go out for a handful more times for a bit of that, just a little bit more of that magic if possible. And if not, I am at least coming into a place in my life where physically I'm not in the best state, but mentally I'm probably as good as I've ever been. And circumstantially, things that have been insane over the last few years are now steady as they ever are in my life. And I feel like I've got this one last little opportunity, this one last little window to go and have a pop. And I don't even give a damn if I lose every single fight. If I went back and fought 5 more times and I lose every single one of them, I'm still going to retire with a win record up here and a loss record down here. I can't screw it up. I can't tarnish my record, my reputation, or anything else like that. And I don't really give a damn, quite frankly. I'm just going to try and get a handful more bits out of me, as I said, just for that experience. On the whole, mate, to be honest, I get much more of a vibe from teaching and passing on what I've done now. I've got some amazing kids coming through, and they are hungry, and they are where you are, you know, where I or you were several years ago, respectively, and they've got that vibe and that hunger, and I love to encourage that. And my own son has now, he's 5 years old, and now he is coming to me and saying, "Daddy, can we go on the pads?" And I'm like, "Yeah, wow, yeah." And on my daughter, I've got to mention, she's a little bit young to be physically training, although she is a stunt woman in training, I would suggest, because she just throws herself off she's a nightmare. Fearless, absolutely fearless and hilarious. But she loves music. I mean, loves it. And she loves, like, my music, because me and Karen and Mum, we've always been into a rock, metal, punk, etc. So it's pretty much all she's heard since been in the womb. But I nearly died the other day because I had YouTube up, and she goes, "Antisocial?" And I'm like, "Excuse me." And one of the suggestions that had been put up was Anthrax's version of Antisocial. I can't remember who did that originally. It's an old French punk band, but the Anthrax. You did that.
Is it Antisocial?
No, Antisocial.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I remember the track.
Yeah, well, Anthrax did a wicked version of it, but like, I couldn't believe she asked for it by name. She sat on my knee. She asked for it by name. I was like, what? And the other one, I mean, she loves Motley Crue. Loves Motley Crue. Guns N' Roses, Slipknot, and her favourite one now is the Cancer Bats, Hail Destroyer.
Oh, right.
Now, she also loves her animals big time. So dogs to her are uff wuffs. And this video's got a couple of big wolves in it, which to her are just uff wuffs. So it's not Hail Destroyer, it's Hail Uff Wuff by the Cancer Bats that she's well into in a minute. But she insists, like, sitting on my knee, and she likes me to, like, bounce so she can headbang and everything. She likes and she's now even started doing small circle pits in the living room and everything. And she's not even teeny. So I think, and there's some good musicians on her mum's side in the family. There's some cracking musicians as well. So I don't know. She might be a musical one in the future. We'll see. But
you never know, John, do you? You never know, mate. Could be the next one in New Mills. She could have a blue plaque.
Mate, now I'm gonna get onto that plaque, mate. I'm gonna get onto that plaque. That is it. So start thinking on causes or mate. That has been a spectacular interview. I've thoroughly enjoyed it again.
Thanks for asking me on. You know.